To loosen the grip of the strongest compositions, diversion can be invaluable. Stacking the deck or sending healers to the respawn screen? None are more annoying than Tracer, Overwatch's top field agent, and Sombra, one of the world's most gifted hackers. But who would win in an all-out fight to the death? Hi there, I'm your host Prime, and if you enjoy the video, likes keep this series alive, and subscribe so that you don't miss out on any of the newest uploads and showdown matches coming in the future, including the clash of two titans. What little that could be known about Sombra's past has been hidden away. She was but one of the thousands of others after the events of the Omnic Crisis had taken their places in history. Her country's infrastructure all but destroyed, and so her hacking talents alone allowed her to survive as best she could. Taken in by the Los Muertos gang in Mexico, she made contributions to the revolution against the government. The organization believed that the rich benefited from the rebuilding of Mexico, leaving those in need of aid behind. At this point, she became extremely confident in her abilities, which led her to discovering a global conspiracy that in turn noticed her, forced her into hiding with her security irreparably compromised. She had to delete all traces of her identity. Sombra soon emerged, upgraded, and committed to uncover the truth behind the conspiracy. Her exploits became even more audacious, and among her newfound admirers were Tabel. She now holds the cards, inciting revolutions in Mexico against Lumerica, and even breaching the security of Volskaya Industries, Russia's anti-Omnic defense. After Lena Oxton's accident with an experimental flight program, she was thought lost. Eventually, as what could be described as a ghost, she would often appear and disappear, sometimes for days, others hours. Luckily, Winston designed a chronal accelerator, which anchored Tracer in the present, whilst also giving Tracer the ability to control her own flow of time. In no time at all, she quickly became one of Overwatch's top agents, an irrepressible force of good. Tracer is practically a gymnast on the battlefield, constantly hopping, leaping, or otherwise traversing the battlefield. Her light gear allows for much flexibility, and while she isn't known to take many hits, she rarely has to concern herself with battlefield injury. Sombra, whilst being a swift combatant on the battlefield, capable of moving silently and undetected, like Tracer, she is also not known to be able to withstand many blows. She is agile and, in certain environments, can use technology to her advantage to grant her horizontal or vertical mobility. However, Tracer, thanks to her chronal accelerator, can maneuver the battlefield with greater ease and versatility than Sombra could in a wider range of combat scenarios. Tracer takes the physical edge. When she's about to be reported for excessive hacking, Sombra whips out the machine pistol, a fully automatic gun with minimal spread, capable of firing 20 rounds per second and only taking 1.5 seconds to reload. This is a solid and reliable weapon, but also Sombra's only means of direct death. Tracer wields two pulse pistols in battle. Like the machine pistol, she can fire 20 shots per second and takes only 1 second to reload. Tracer also never leaves home without her trusty pulse bomb, a deceptively small explosive with a 3-meter blast radius and 1 second fuse time. She can manually attach this to opponents, lob them at them from a distance, or even throw them as if they were shuriken. With her time manipulation abilities, she can simply restore her supply of pulse bombs, which will be rarely out of one in a pinch. Her pistols also use this technology and can be reloaded with her time manipulation abilities, which makes ammo not a problem. Additionally, all of Tracer's weapons will put Sombra down before her machine pistol will actually kill Tracer. As the two weapons are almost identical otherwise, Tracer gets the edge for weaponry. Tracer's chronal accelerator grants her dominion over her flow of time. She can speed it up at will to allow her to move in directions of her choosing. This makes her incredibly difficult to pin down as she's always moving, always changing course, and running literal circles around her enemies. With the recall ability, she can reverse her flow of time, rewriting any injuries taken and restoring any ammunition used. It is also unknown how many times she may blink or rewrite time before her accelerator times out, But when the device runs out of energy, Tracer is unable to blink or reverse time, leaving her vulnerable. She usually has allies to cover her back in fights, but there is no such thing in a showdown. Sombra's ability to hack allows her much more of an advantage than merely shutting down Tracer's accelerator, which she can very well do. Besides this, Sombra also appears to be able to detect vulnerable opponents, be this through an unexplained technology or unknown ability. It is still part of her capabilities, which grants her vision of a target. Sombra also has thermo-optic camo up her sleeves, allowing her to hide herself should she need to rethink her strategy. With her small translocator, Sombra can teleport as far as she can throw the object, and may move to it at any time. With EMP, Sombra will completely disable Tracer's chronal accelerator, making for an easy kill for the Talon agent. This was the hardest section to call. Sombra could hack into Tracer's gear, and Sombra would have a great advantage over Tracer, as Tracer may not even be able to reload her pistols should this happen. Despite this, Sombra still wouldn't be able to relax for even a second, as this would be long enough for Tracer to get the upper hand and end the fight. I'll give the very narrow advantage in this category to Sombra, as the information that she holds could ultimately yield victory for her. A chilled wind blows atop the empty gardens of Lijiang Tower. Arriving at the scene first, Tracer, who carefully scouts the area before spotting a figure wearing purple clothing over to the right side of the gardens. No words were needed. The figure faced Tracer, and the fight began. Tracer darted at Sombra, and the two exchanged weapon fire, ducking, spinning, weaving away from the deadly pellets. Sombra growled in frustration as a bullet barely chipped her right shoulder, prompting her to retreat into the nearby building in the main garden area. In hot pursuit, Tracer dashed after her. Discovering the translocator, she destroyed the device and reloaded her pulse pistol. This was not over yet. She fought as Sombra lunged towards her whilst leaving her camouflage. Disarming Tracer, Sombra reached for the chronal accelerator, to no avail, as Tracer recalled herself. Upon her reappearance, the gardens had been darkened, lit only by moonlight, as the last few surges of power escaped all light sources in the area. Tracer felt a hand reach out and touch her chronal accelerator. Instinctively, Tracer returned an elbow, lunging into a tackle. The machine pistol fell to the floor as the two averted their gazes over to it. For a mere second, wrestling for control over the pistol, fists and feet flew wildly in a frantic frenzy. Sombra finally found an opening, shunting Tracer aside and leaped for her weapon. As she raised the weapon to finish the fight, she felt a hammering sensation in her lower palm. Leering over her, Tracer elegantly soared into the air, grabbing the weapon and unleashed a barrage of fire on Sombra. Sombra would most likely be aware of Tracer's tactics and strategies, as in-game there are several interactions between characters during which she'll mention something that said character may prefer to be kept hidden, such as McCree's name possibly being Joel.
Pleasure working with you, McCree, if that is your real name.
Don't know what you heard. My name's not Joel. Best remember that.
As such, it is extremely unlikely that would not be aware of Tracer's abilities, as she seems to have some level of information about everyone, and as such the details of the chronal accelerator couldn't be too far out of her reach. Sombra could have been able to have at her disposal the intense information about when exactly the chronal accelerator would time out, how exactly the energy source works, also knowing that it's essentially her lifeblood, and taking down the accelerator also disables the rest of Tracer's arsenal. It is also possible for Sombra to use her information in more ways than one to win the fight, as she does have quite a way with words and manipulating people as she sees fit, as seen during the infiltration shot. She could have possibly threatened Emily, who is Tracer's girlfriend. I didn't include this in the fight, purely because it didn't work out too well, shall we say. Anyway, thanks to these advantages, I find it much more likely for Sombra to then exploit one of them, eventually hack into and disable the chronal accelerator, because as we see in this short, Sombra need only touch her desired hack target to take control of it. But Tracer is no slouch when it comes to close-range combat, and we know that her reaction time is beyond that of a normal person's. Without the support of her chronal accelerator, I question how well she would stack up against Sombra, We've seen the Talon associate disarm armed guards and take a few of them down with her bare hands, but then Tracer's effortless display, whereby she disabled Widowmaker, a highly trained Talon operative, suggests that the two are relatively equal as far as unarmed combat is concerned, at least from what we've seen. In the end, everything came down to reaction time, and ultimately, Tracer has the greater feats that show off her god-tier reaction time, such as when she recalled herself away from a close-range sniper bullet, or her constant dancing around enemy weapon fire as if it were moving at the speed of mere bubbles. Therefore, I declare Tracer the winner of this showdown. I hope that you enjoyed this episode of the Showdown series. And as you no doubt noticed a lack of uploads recently, this was the exact reason as to why nothing has been posted. So, if you want to see more of this, then more so than usual, support is necessary. Leave a comment, a like, or share the video, and all of which are greatly appreciated. And as you made it this far, be sure to type in the comment section, "Hacks don't pay bills." I'll be sure to know that you made it this far. Depending on how much you guys support these videos, I'll continue to upload them. Though I do admittedly need quite a bit of motivation to actually continue this series. Considering the fact that the last one was months ago, yeah, a fair bit of motivation there. Up next will be something that you might not expect, and the next Showdown video will actually be a lot sooner than you may think. So until the next video, have a very good day, and I'll see you lovely guys and girls later. Bye-bye.